Hello everyone and welcome back once again to the channel. I hope you are all having a fantastic day so far. About a year ago I made a short little beginner's tutorial on how to basically land a helicopter in Microsoft Flight Simulator and how to do some basic hovering. If you've been following this channel for a while you might have already seen it. Although it is still among some of my most popular uploads even to this day, the video was far from perfect to say the least. The audio turned out to be very loud due to the in-game sounds, which made my explanation quite hard to hear, and this lasted all the way to pretty much halfway the video, and some of the techniques I explained also weren't really that great in terms of accuracy. Some viewers actually commented to ask me to re-upload the video with better sounds, but as helicopters in the sim weren't really that common yet, and there were more interesting projects to pursue at that time, I never really found the time and energy to make that happen. However, as of recently there have been quite a lot of improvements in terms of helicopters for the sim, including a bunch of new aircraft and also tools to make them feel more realistic. So instead of re-uploading my older video, I thought it would be a fun idea to just start over with some of the new tools that are now available. So that's what we'll be doing in this video. For this tutorial I decided to go with the Robinson R44 Raven, developed by RotorSimPilot. So far, apart from the H145 by High Performance Group, this helicopter is probably the best one you can get for the sim at this time. It comes with some great features and is really a joy to fly, and also in my opinion a good starter helicopter. If you want to fly this helicopter yourself, you will be needing an extra application called Airland FS, which is, just like the R44, free to download on FlightSim.2. And this is absolutely needed in order for your helicopter to function properly. I will put a link to it and the helicopter in the description below. So we are almost ready to jump inside the cockpit and start flying, but before we do I want to give a little disclaimer first. This video is by no means meant as a 100% accurate tutorial on how to fly and land a helicopter by the book. The only purpose of this tutorial is to give you a basic understanding of how helicopters work and how you can land one without crashing it into the ground. But if you are looking for a more advanced material on this subject, I recommend you go check out some other videos of real-world helicopter pilots, because I'm definitely not one, nor do I claim to be one. So with that out of the way, I feel like we can start this tutorial, and hopefully, if you are completely new to helicopters, you will still learn a thing or two. Now without further ado, let's jump into the cockpit. So guys, welcome inside the beautiful flight deck of the R44 Raven. We got our co-pilot here in the left seat. So the thing with helicopters is that the pilot flying or captain is usually sat in the right seat of the helicopter, so that's a bit different from aircraft. But yeah, as you can see, cockpit-wise it is a quite simple aircraft. So if you want to actually learn how to start this thing up, I recommend you go to the YouTube channel of RotorSimPilot himself or some other helicopter aviator on YouTube, because I haven't learned it so far. I just loaded the aircraft here on runway 29 at my home airport in Antwerp, and I haven't started it up yet, so we're just gonna go with that. And also, before we get to actually fly this helicopter, it is important, like I said in the intro, that you have Airland FS. So let me just quickly show you what it looks like. So this here is the application that you will be needing to fly this helicopter. As you can see, it now says that no profile has been loaded. So the way this works is pretty much every helicopter for the sim comes with a CFG file, I think it is. And this is basically a profile that allows the sim to, fly the helicopter properly or know how to. It's quite hard to explain because I'm not a developer or anything, but you just need this file to be able to fly your aircraft. So in the Airland FS file, you can copy paste the config files from your helicopter. So I did that. So we have two files for the R44. I think it's the blue one that we need to use. I'm not really sure, but this livery has some blue stripes on it, so I assumed that that was what it was referring to. So we're gonna open that. Now you can see the flight plan, the profile has been loaded. So also a nice thing about Airland FS is that you can choose your own difficulty setting. So right now for this tutorial I've set it to casual pilot, so the difficulty is at 0%, which is the easiest option you can get. I've also increased the cyclic sensitivity, which we'll get into in just a moment. And for the rest I haven't changed anything except turn off the messages. Everything else is still where it needs to be, so we can put that into the background. And now normally, as you can see, that light went out, so that's a sign that everything is working fine at the moment. So now we can go ahead and actually start this tutorial, but first I think it might be a good idea to give you a little introduction into the flight controls of a helicopter. So basically we have three ways to control a helicopter, right? We have the collective, which is basically in layman's terms the throttle of the helicopter, but it's not actually the throttle because the rotor always spins at the same speed. But by increasing the collective, by pulling it up, you actually increase the angle of the blades of the rotor, which increases the downward force and lifts your helicopter up. So it's not actually a throttle, but if you're not that really into helicopters and you don't want to refer to it as a collective, which is the name of this lever here, you can just say throttle. So that's probably what I'm going to do just out of force of habit, but yeah. So moving on, we have the probably the second most important control in the helicopter, which is the cyclic or cyclic, however you want to pronounce it. It's the little flight stick or side stick here in the middle. So it's pretty intuitive how it works. If you push it forward, your helicopter will pitch down and will move in that direction, and vice versa. So same for left and right. So this is used for everything from turning the aircraft to moving forward, backwards, left and right. So that's what that is used for. And then lastly, the third way to control the aircraft are these anti-torque pedals, I believe they are called, but do not hold me to that. So yeah, they are pedals that actually don't really control a rudder, but instead they control the rotor at the end of the helicopter. And this is needed because when you increase or decrease the throttle of a helicopter, see there I went, I said throttle, when you increase or decrease the collective, so the engine will produce more thrust, and this will exert more force on the rotor to lift or decrease the descent rate. So what that will do is, as a reaction to that, the helicopter will want to spin in the opposite direction, as per Newton's third law of motion. So to counteract this, helicopters actually come with anti-torque pedals, so you can counteract this movement and you can keep the helicopter lined up nice and straight. Since I have Airland FS in casual pilot mode, this probably won't be simulated. And yeah, I chose this difficulty setting because I myself am not a very good helicopter pilot, so in order to do this tutorial, it was a better idea to put it in casual pilot, so that's what we are going to do. But know that when you put it into a more realistic mode, you will actually experience this torque movement, so yeah. With that out of the way, we don't need to discuss anything else in the cockpit. Those are your basic controls, and we will now be seeing how they are actually put into practice. So we are here at the runway, and up ahead is a helicopter landing pad somewhere. So we are going to basically follow the runway down there and turn left and basically try to land on that platform. So that's what you are going to do. I'm going to slowly start to increase the throttle here. Still lifting. As you can see there, the helicopter is starting to lift off the ground. There we go. So if you want to go forward with the helicopter, you just push down on the cyclic here, and as you can see there, we are slowly going forward now along the runway. And another thing, as a helicopter picks up speed, you should probably decrease the collective a little bit, because as you can see by the vertical speed indicator there, we started to ascend a little bit even though the collective was still in the same position. And that's because you in forward flight you get airflow over the rotor blades, and that also increases the lift of the blades. So yeah, we are now flying in a nice straight line here, not really using the anti-torque pedals at all, because we are in a very easy flight mode right now. So yeah, the landing platform is somewhere on our right. Let's climb it a little bit to see it a little bit better. So what I did there is just increase the collective. I'm not sure if that's the right procedure, but that's what I went with for today. And we'll make a bit of a right turn here. So now I'm using the cyclic again to turn the helicopter. And now I'm using the collective, the anti-torque pedals to turn the nose of the helicopter around. And there you can see at our 11 o'clock we have the landing platform. I'm going to straighten out the nose here. And we actually entered a bit of a hover here, so that's nice and all, but we basically... A comment that I got on my previous video on flying a helicopter, someone said that you only really want to start hovering when you are right above the landing spot. So that's what we are going to do. We are just going to gradually descend towards the landing spot, and only when we get above our landing spot we are going to engage in a hover. So right now I'm just slowly approaching the landing pad there, about 200 feet per minute descent rate. Basically all I'm doing is slightly increasing and decreasing the collective to keep our forward speed and also keep our descent rate. And here we are. I'm slowly going to increase the throttle now, and we actually started the hover a bit short of the landing pad, so let's push the cyclic forward a little bit, and here we are. Now we are right above the landing pad, so let's pull back on the cyclic here. And now it's just a case of basically increasing the collective a little bit, since you no longer have that airflow over the rotors, and just slowly bringing it down to the ground, like so. And also doing your best to keep it right above the landing pad with the cyclic. So there we go. It was a pretty soft landing. We are not really, or you know, we are pretty much in the middle of the landing pad. So that was a successful landing, I think. But yeah, it all went pretty fast. So let me just explain again what I did during this landing. So we're going to go back up in the air for a second. And we are going to back up by pulling back on the stick here. As you can see, the helicopter wanted to yaw to the right there, so I had to put in some left anti-torque pedal, like so. So yeah, basically we are going to stop here for a second, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what you need to do to land this helicopter. So basically, when we were approaching the landing pad, I was using the cyclic to adjust the forward speed of the helicopter. So if I wanted to go slower, I would pull back on the cyclic, and that would slow down the helicopter. And if I wanted to go faster because I was getting too slow, I would push the cyclic forward. But because you are adjusting the attitude of the helicopter, pushing the nose forward would actually increase your descent rate as well. So to counteract this, I would increase just the collective just a little bit to keep our descent rate stable at about 200 to 300 feet per minute. Again, I don't know the exact numbers for landing a helicopter, especially not the R44. So if you want to know that, you probably should look up some other videos of professional pilots. But that's just what I went with, a stable descent rate between 0 and 500 feet per minute. And yeah, as you can see, we're now nicely hovering above the airfield here. So let's back up just a little bit more, and I'll show you guys again what you should do during the approach phase here. Again, the helicopter is wanting to pitch yaw to the right, so we are putting in quite some bit of rudder, and we are also ascending because we are getting airflow above the over the rotors. So here we are again. This seems like a good place to approach the landing pad again. So let's see here. So we are now basically hovering. So in order to increase our forward speed, like I said, we want to push down or push forward on the cyclic rather, and also increase the throttle just a little bit. Actually decrease it a little bit now, so we can get that nice and stable descent. And we don't want to go too fast here, so I'm going to pitch up a little bit and also decrease the throttle just a little more. Here we go, we are coming in a bit faster than normal. Now our descent rate is getting a little bit too far down, so I'm going to increase the throttle here and push down on cyclic. Put in some more throttle, here we are. Now we are nice and stable. And we can further approach the landing pad again. So basically during a landing with a helicopter, basically just keeping an eye on your vertical speed and also your position relative to your landing spot. And that's all I'm doing right now. So right now we are pretty stable above the landing zone, and we can just bring it down nice and easy, just like that. Not much adjustment needed, as you could see. So that's pretty easy. If you want to learn a helicopter, I really recommend you use the casual pilot setting in Airland FS. But let's now see how I do when the difficulty is a bit higher. So let's take advanced pilot. So this, now you're going to see a difference. I might have looked pretty professional with this landing, but trust me, I'm not a great helicopter pilot. So, and that's what you'll see just now. So we'll do exactly the same thing here, but we are going to go to the other landing pad somewhere over there. There's another one there. So yeah, increase the throttle again. Now you will see the effect of the torque here on the engine. See how the helicopter wants to yaw to the right there. There we go. We are now up in the air. Already I'm having to put in way more movements with the cyclic. And the nose is still yawing a bit to the left, to the right, sorry. So I'm putting in left anti-torque pedal, and we are slowly rising up into the air. So I'm basically going to fly via the taxiways here. So a bit of forward cyclic here. And as we are gaining some forward momentum, I can ease up on the collective a little bit. And here's taxiway Bravo, so we are going to follow that, and the landing pad is just to the left there, as you'll see in just a bit. Bravo 1 is this taxiway here. I'm going a bit fast for my liking, so like I said, I'm going to pull back on the cyclic, and I'm going to monitor my vertical speed. It is lowering a little bit, so yeah, the helicopter is again wanting to yaw to the right, so I'm going to put in a little bit more anti-torque pedal. And now we have just completely stopped, so let me just adjust our speed again. And so here's the landing pad to our right here. So I'm going to put in some left anti-torque pedal once again to line ourselves up with this landing pad. It's a bit harder this time since you really need to pay attention to what you're doing here with the collective and the pedals and also the cyclic. Going a bit too fast here, let's adjust that real quickly. So basically just trying my very best to keep it above the landing zone while slowly bringing it down using the collective. And there we go. So that was quite hard, but I think I did a fairly good job at it. Let's see where we are. Not exactly in the middle, but good enough for me. We are inside the circle. So yeah, I think that's basically all I can say about how to fly a helicopter. You know, just if you want to learn it yourself, I recommend you just download Airland FS and a helicopter from Flight Sim 2 that is a bit basic like the R44, like this one. And just use the casual pilot mode at first and just, you know, get a feel for what a helicopter feels like, because it's not really that easy to explain in my opinion. I tried my best in this video, but it's way easier if you just do it yourself and, you know, get a feel for how helicopters fly, and then you'll understand better what I'm trying to explain in this video. So yeah, you just need to take a shot at it yourself, and then you'll get better at it one way or the other, just by practicing, and you'll see yourself improve eventually. But yeah, I really didn't think this landing would go so well actually, so even I am improving a little bit, I think, but yeah. So guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on if you haven't already. That way you are always notified whenever I upload new content. Before I end this video, I still have a quick little announcement to make. I recently made a Discord server for the channel, which you can now join if all goes well. It's a great place to stay up to date on all of the content on the channel, but most of all, it is a great place to get to know more like-minded aviation enthusiasts like yourself. Once we have a couple of members, we'll probably start doing fun things like landing competitions and group flights and all of that, so be sure to check it out. A link will be in the description below. I did run into some trouble with the link in the past, so should it not work for you, do let me know in the comment section. I'm very looking forward to seeing you all there. For now, happy flying, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.